It turns out that biased love is destined to become an educational tragedy. From Yinming's perspective, his father's love was always divided in half. One half given to his flawless, outstanding sister Yinming, the other half given to his younger brother Tongming, who died unexpectedly. What little was left barely fell on him, cold and indifferent. As the second child of the family, his life had been compared to Yinming's ever since he could remember. When his grades improved, he would clutch his test paper and run home, hoping for his mother's praise, only to turn around and see his sister's perfect score. His mother's smile was always reserved for Yinming, and his sense of achievement was instantly crushed to dust. Living under the shadow of his sister's perfection, he refused to believe his entire life was meant to be nothing more than her background. He also refused to believe he was the extra one in his parents' eyes. Because he envied the praise his sister received, he subconsciously ignored everything his parents did for him. These subtle signs of favoritism convinced him that he was simply not good enough. Rebellion became his only way to prove his existence. As a student, he stole car emblems from teachers' vehicles. As an adult, he impulsively started businesses, took shortcuts to make fast money, and even named his daughter Zai, a homophone meaning number one. He was desperate to prove himself, to tell his father, "Stop only looking at the smart ones, look at me." As an adult, Yinming made becoming number one his sole goal, just to earn one approving glance from his father. In fact, he was smart. Even back in his student days, when he stole car emblems for his girlfriend or made side money with friends, his cleverness was obvious. But when someone lives trapped in a distorted inner world, they tend to go to extremes. He was eager for quick success, reckless, and impulsive. Eventually, he fell into a trap. Partnering with friends to open a shop, he believed this was his chance to turn things around, only to be scammed out of 70 million worth of goods and charged with fraud. Behind the glass at the police station, he watched his father rush over, exhausted and disheveled. The white in his father's hair had increased again since the last time they met. Yinming felt no guilt, only hysterical resentment. "Have you ever treated me fairly? Honestly, have you ever told me I was your pride? Every day you tell my sister how amazing she is. Have you ever said that to me? Am I only allowed to be like her?" He shouted until his voice broke, tears filling his eyes. He had tried with all his strength to be the best, yet his father still only saw his sister and the younger brother who had died. His mind drifted back to childhood, to birthdays forever overshadowed by his brother's death anniversary, when even hearing "happy birthday" became a luxury. His grandmother told him to accept reality and live for himself and his brother. Tongming's death became a scar the family would carry forever. His mother Aichuan sank into endless self-blame, crying day after day. His father Quanji turned grey overnight, staring at the sea until dawn. The entire family was wrapped in grief. Even breathing felt painful. Yinming was still young, but he witnessed it all. That shadow made him sensitive and stubborn. From that day on, his parents smiled less. Praise for his sister increased, while attention toward him seemed to fade. He became convinced that all their love had gone to his exceptional sister and their deceased son, that he was the one abandoned. He never realized that their preference for his sister was simply the natural comfort of seeing a capable child succeed, the strength that allowed the family to keep going. It was never intentional neglect. To raise bail money, his father sold the fishing boat that had been with him for 20 years. With that sale, Quanji finally gathered enough money to save his son, but his life at sea ended completely. When his mother silently pulled Yinming out of the prison, he asked her why she said nothing. She only held his hand and kept walking, just like when he was a child. Watching her evasive expression, he suddenly understood. That money came from his father's lifeline, the fishing boat that carried 20 years of his life at sea and all his responsibility toward the family. When his father sold it, Yinming felt a sharp ache for the first time, as if something had violently clenched his heart. His mother patted his back and finally spoke the love they had always hidden. As long as their son was safe and healthy, nothing else mattered. Children may abandon sick parents, but parents never abandon their children. After that, his father never blamed him. Instead, he became even more tolerant. When Yinming made excuses to go out repeatedly, his father didn't scold him. He only worried he might catch a cold. The two exchanged a silent glance, an understanding that needed no words. His father knew exactly what his son was going through. During the economic downturn, with a criminal record, no one would hire him. Yinming spent 6 or 7 hours a day standing in the freezing wind selling rice cakes, from dusk until the streetlights came on, hoping to earn something to support the family. He wanted desperately to buy back his father's boat. His father never asked where he went. Before he left, he would quietly place a bottle of warm milk in his hand, brushing the dust off the bottle and stubbornly insisting he take it. He never said much. He never told him to dress warmer. He only expressed his care through clumsy actions. One day, after failing to sell a single rice cake, Yinming sat on a street corner, numb with cold and frustration. He knew this income would never be enough to redeem the boat or give his family stability. With no way out, he chose the most dangerous but fastest way to earn money, becoming a crewman at sea. He left without telling his parents. He only left behind the money he had saved and a note filled with apologies, then quietly departed for the open ocean. His disappearance plunged the family into collapse once again. 30 years ago, the sea had taken his younger son. Now it threatened to take Yinming as well. Quanji, already having lost one child, was consumed by fear. He paid enormous fuel costs and used every connection he had to locate his son, desperate to ensure his safety. When Yinming was finally brought ashore, his father's worry turned into anger. He used harsh reality to show how dangerous the job was, and to make his son understand that their opposition was never rejection. Yinming saw the pain in his father's eyes. He wanted to earn money, to buy back the boat his father had sold. His father had fought the sea his entire life. How could he bear to see his son walk the same path? He had always loved Yinming, always supported him silently, knowing his son valued pride too much to accept direct help. So he secretly paid neighbors to look after Yinming's business, hoping his store would have more customers, hoping he wouldn't have to stand in the cold until late every night. When customers began saying the same strange things and even handed him warm meals, Yinming finally understood. It was his father. The father who never knew how to speak. All those years, Yinming believed his father's love was divided, that he was the extra one. But in truth, his father's love had run through his entire life. Back then, when he cried for a birthday celebration that coincided with his brother's death anniversary, his father harshly dragged him away without explanation. Yet what followed wasn't scolding, but a quiet birthday meal, just the two of them. What? Watching him eat greedily, his father's eyes were full of tenderness, something Yinming failed to understand at the time. The so-called favoritism had always been his misunderstanding. His parents weren't incapable of love. They were trapped by the pain of losing a child and the weight of life. They swallowed their tears, carried the burden on their shoulders, and shielded him from half a lifetime of storms with their silent backs. He had fought desperately to be number one, to be seen by everyone. Forgetting that in his father's eyes, he was never a substitute, never the second child, never inferior to his sister. He was Quanji's son, a child meant to be cherished. In the end, he no longer obsessed over the meaning of being number one. He finally understood that love is not a fixed amount to be divided. Love is an ocean, deep, vast, and endless. It was hidden in the fishing boat his father sold, in the warm milk placed in his hands, and in the clumsy tenderness that had been misunderstood for half a lifetime.
贯穿了他的一生。当年银明哭着闹着要过生日，可3天后就是弟弟同名的忌日，父亲凶巴巴地把他叫了出去，什么都没有解释。他等到的不是父亲的斥责，而是偷偷带他去店里，带他吃了一顿属于他们自己的生日餐。父亲看着他狼吞虎咽，严厉的温柔，他那时竟没有看懂，原来所谓的偏心，从来都是他的误解。父母不是不爱他，是丧子的痛，生活的苦困住了他们表达爱的能力。他们把眼泪咽进肚子里，把担子扛在肩上。 用沉默的肩膀为他挡住了半生的风雨。他拼了命的想要争第一，想要被所有人看到，却忘了在父亲眼里，他从来不是谁的替代品，不是次子，不是不如姐姐的孩子，而是他宽直的儿子，是那个值得被捧在手心里的宝贝。后来，他不再执着于载一这个名字的意义，他明白了，父亲沉默的爱，爱从来不是定量分配的份额，爱是一片海，深沉辽阔，永不干枯。它藏在父亲卖掉的渔船里，藏在递来的热牛奶里，藏在那些被误解了半生笨拙的温柔里。